Hello, what's going on, guys? Sorry I'm a couple minutes late, a couple technical difficulties, making sure I have everything set up, but that is the way technology goes. So, you guys probably know who I am, but Eric Bach, Bach Performance here, and today it's my birthday. So, as a gift to you guys, I want to break down 28 simple and easy to implement tips to build strength and muscle. Now, I'm going to hold on for just a minute before we fully dive in, but feel free throughout the call just to drop in any questions that you have. I'll try to answer as many of them live as I can, but it's a good chance I've got some other stuff to do today, and I will make sure I get to them later. So, like I said, we're going to kick it off in about a minute here. We'll be up and rolling. And man, I got the NFL draft coming up tonight. Are you guys watching the draft? If you're watching the NFL draft, give me a thumbs up. If you're giving me, or if you're watching the basketball playoffs are going on, so NHL playoffs, drop me a hockey puck or a basketball emoji in the comments below. Of course, I'm getting my caffeine. I ran out of coffee, so I'm drinking tea. I don't even know what this is. But all right, guys, let's kick this thing off in a minute. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to cover 28 tips to build muscle and strength. Now, like I said, got 28 tips coming on. Feel free to drop a question at any time in the comments below. I'll try to answer them live if I can, but the better chance is I'll come back later on today and make sure I answer every single one of the questions. So anything that comes up, boom. So, hey, Tanner, thanks a lot for the happy birthday wishes, man. I appreciate it. And just one more thing, guys. I am going to offer you guys a free 7-day course coming up. I'm going to put a link in the comments later on today. It's called the 7 Days to Superhuman, which is going to help you build high performance muscle. So stay tuned for that. I will put that in the comments at the very end. But let's get to it. I'm going to rapid fire. Like I said, guys, drop questions. Number one, consistency is king. It doesn't matter if you have the perfect program and it's supposed to be 5 days a week if you do it 3 days a week because life is too crazy. Pick a program that's going to be 3 days a week. It's going to get you a little bit stronger and let you go consistently. But make sure you are consistent overall. You can't deal with these long layoffs. That is what prevents you from getting results. Number two, train around pain, not through it. Now, we all get aches and pains, knees, back, elbows, shoulder, all these things that build up. And that's what happens when you train hard and, as you get a little bit older and the wear and tear starts to add up. But if something hurts, honestly, don't do it. Work around it. There's so many different exercise variations that you can use and find out what the root cause is. If you don't fix the root cause, it's not going to get any better. But don't think just, for example, you need to do a conventional deadlift because somebody else said a conventional deadlift's the best thing you need to do. If you can't get in position, you keep hurting yourself, it's just going to hold you back. So maybe look for a trap bar. That's just one example. If you guys have any injuries, anything like that really adds up, just drop it in the comments. Let me know what lifts they are, and we can see what workarounds there can be. I'm not sure what's happening here. Feels like I'm going to have a nip slip on Facebook Live. All right. Anyway, back on track. When in doubt, follow this very simple training split, all right? This is more or less an upper, lower, upper, total body or second lower body split. So Monday, you hit a heavy upper body day. Focus on getting a little bit stronger in those main lifts. Wednesday will be a lower body strength focused day where you're really trying to hammer a squat or deadlift movement pattern. Friday would be an upper body volume day. So you're going to leave the gym with an excellent pump. You're going to have stretched shirt sleeves. You're going to be looking great for a Friday night. Awesome. That's a great Friday workout. Then Saturday, what I prefer to do, instead of doing a second lower body day, I'll focus on something that is total body. So you're hitting some upper body work, some lower body work, but you're going to keep the tempo up. So you're getting that 2 for 1. You're getting a little bit of cardio in there, but you're also hitting those major muscle groups enough where you're going to stimulate greater growth and some rapid gains. And we all want the gains. All right, number 4. All right, get strong first. This is where so many people screw up. They go in the gym and they see some bodybuilding magazine and think that they need to do a complete arms day with 300 reps before they can even do a pull-up or do a row. It's not the case. Really, when we look at strength, building strength first builds your work capacity for everything else. And when it comes to building muscles, you need the ability to have high tension exercises and then have high volume. But if you're not able to lift with enough tension or create enough tension and recruit enough muscle fibers, all the volume in the world won't do a thing. That's why, you could curl a 10-pound dumbbell 100 times and you're going to get a pump, but is that really going to trigger much in the way of muscle growth? Not really. So get strong first. Honestly, that is the most important thing. Everything else is easier from that point on. Next up, warm up. Now, this is the first thing that goes out for most people, but if you do not have time to warm up, you do not have time to train. When you warm up, it's going to prevent those injuries, keep you healthy for the long term, and make sure that you are not sidelined, all right? Warm up. Next one, though. Don't be the guy who warms up, or girl who warms up non-stop. You know the people I'm talking about. They find every corrective exercise that they can do. They are foam rolling every inch of flesh on their body. Well, I hope not every inch of flesh. That would get kind of weird and kind of awkward in the gym. But every single stretch, every single corrective, no. Guys, I have an excellent warm-up that I can send you. Ask or just say in the comments below, send the warm-up, and I will put a link to it. But this is a very simple 5 to 10 minute warm-up that my clients go through every single day. And honestly, it'll help you unlock stiff hips, a stiff back, and make sure those shoulders are not achy. So if you want that warm-up, just say, boom, drop the warm-up, and I will put it in the comments, all right? Scott, thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it, man. All right, next one, vary your reps. Now, this becomes really important because if you only focus on one rep scheme, you're only training one quality. And for most of us, we don't just want to build muscle, we don't just want to lose fat, we don't just want to be athletic and jacked and all that cool stuff. We want the whole package. And if you want the whole package, you need to have that baseline of strength, you need to train with enough volume to trigger muscle growth, and occasionally hitting some very high rep sets is going to help there as well. So for example, use one exercise in a workout that's going to be focused more on heavy weight, think 1 to 6 reps, that's going to activate more muscle fibers. Another exercise that's going to be 8 to 12 reps, this is going to let you hit a lot more volume while still having tension, which is going to help trigger muscle growth. Okay, tension plus volume and metabolic stress, that's what's going to get you to grow. Then occasionally, like I said, a high rep set or a finisher, a 20 rep drop set, stuff like that, cool. Use those sparingly, but those 3 are all pieces of the puzzle. Heavy reps, moderate reps, high reps. All right, moving on. Fat grips. If you guys do not know what fat grips are, you need to get a pair. Honestly, fat grips are a rubber attachment that goes over a barbell, a dumbbell, kettlebell, some machines. And what it does, it takes the diameter of a bar from this to this. Now, when you have that increased diameter of the bar, it really stresses your forearms and actually takes some stress off of the wrist, elbow, and shoulder. For example, take your hand in front of you right now and squeeze it as hard as you can. You'll notice you don't just feel your forearm, you feel it all the way up your shoulder. That's what we call irradiation. When you create that very firm, very strong grip, you actually protect the shoulders and activate the rotator cuff. So, fat grips will give you bigger arms, protect your shoulders, protect your joints. Good stuff, right? I thought so. All right, this one is so basic, but everyone messes it up. I've screwed it up. You've probably screwed it up. Pick one goal. How many times do we want to lose 20 pounds, get 17-inch arms, dunk a basketball, and do that all at once, right? The problem is when you chase too many goals all at one point, that's when you get the information overload. We cannot focus, and then we start to look for every little edge that we can get and add different things to the program, and soon you're not following the same program. You don't even have the same goal. So make sure you're picking one goal and going all in towards that one goal. Next one. This is a tough concept for a lot of people, but 90% of the time, if you get lean, lose fat, and get really in the best shape of your life first, it's going to be so much easier for you to build muscle. So for example, guys, if you're above about 17% body fat, if you need a picture for this, guys, like if you want to see what 17% body fat looks like, ask in the comments below, and I'll put a picture up later. But men, you should get below about 17% body fat and aim to get to about 12 to 14. This is because when you're eating excess calories to build muscle, the partitioning is going to be off, meaning your body won't be as sensitive to the nutrients if your body fat is too high, and you're going to be more likely to store those extra calories as fat rather than muscle. And quite honestly, I don't think anybody wants to gain 20 pounds and have 15 pounds of it being fat that sits around your waistline rather than have it being dense muscle around your chest, shoulders, and arms, right? I'm sure you guys agree there. So women, the same principle applies. I would say be down below about 25% and try to diet down to about 20%. That's a pretty good area. Like I said, if you want to know what that body fat looks like in percentages, ask in the comments. I'll make sure it's there. All right, next up, I've got some notes for this one, guys. This is a long one. All right, lower slower to gain faster. By that, what I mean by that is, a lot of people will do their eccentric, take a barbell and bring it down really fast before they bring it back up. What happens there is you're minimizing the eccentric. The eccentric is where most of the muscle damage occurs, and it's actually where you're stronger in a lift. So by slowing down that negative, taking more time, you're going to be able to break down the muscle fibers a little bit more, build more eccentric strength and concentric strength, and have better control. It's going to reduce ballistic shock on your joints, so you're able to train pain-free, and it's going to help you build more muscle. So slow down, take 2 to 4 seconds on your eccentric. It's going to help you build size and strength going forward. Next one, creating the mind-muscle connection. I believe the quote goes, if you cannot feel a muscle when you're training, you're going to have one hell of a time making it grow, right? I'm sure you guys agree with me there. If you agree, boom, give me a thumbs up emoji just to make sure you guys are there and not just spacing out. We do have a good number of people on there. All right, there we go. Caffeine is rolling, guys. I'm feeling great. All right, so the mind-muscle connection. Now, a couple things you can do for a mind-muscle connection. One, if you have a muscle that you can't feel, for example, a bicep, one thing you could do before a set is, boom, hold a bicep flex. Even if you're doing, you don't have to be that obvious in front of the mirror. You know, you don't want to be that guy. But by holding a flex, you are going to be able to fire up some of those dormant muscle fibers and improve that mind-muscle connection. So then when you go to do your bicep curls for 10 reps, boom, you can feel a lot more that way. Now, another thing you can do is add an isometric pause. So essentially what an isometric pause would be going halfway through your rep. I'll stand up for a second. So say you're right here in a bicep curl, pause and hold that weight and flex as hard as you can for 10 to 15 seconds, and then go through and knock out 8, 10, 12 reps, whatever you have set. We call that an isodynamic contrast. If you guys want more info on isodynamic contrast, throw up a bicep flex emoji, and I'll share another video actually doing that with a bicep curl, and that will be really simple and straightforward. But you can apply it to any type of exercise to really feel those muscles to work. So if you can't feel your chest, do it on a bench press. Can't feel your lats, do it on a row. Can't feel your biceps, do it on a curl. Can't feel your butt, just kidding. Pre-exhaust, Cliff, yes, pre-exhaustion works as well. So that would be, the idea of pre-exhaustion does help improve the mind-muscle connection. So that would be like hitting a muscle group beforehand, before a compound movement. If you want to feel more, for example, if you want to feel your chest more in a bench press, you could hit a fly movement first, fatigue it a little bit, and then you're going to be able to feel it kick in a little bit earlier. You could also think of this like fatiguing the shoulders so they do not interfere with chest recruitment on a bench press. Great question, Cliff. If you have any other specifics in terms of muscle groups, let me know, and I'll get to those. Okay, you need to do some form of conditioning, cardio, whatever you want to call it, at least once per week. Now, a lot of guys fall into this habit, women too. It's like, I want to build lean muscles, so I can't do any cardio. No, that's not the case. Honestly, if you completely skip cardio, skip all that stuff, you're going to get fat. No way around it. Like, honestly, your diet probably will not be perfect. If you just focus on 1 to 2 conditioning days where you're doing sprints, a sled push, a complex, bike intervals, any of that stuff once per week for 15 to 20 minutes, that alone will be enough to stave off some fat loss and keep your body sensitive to all the additional calories you're putting in. But I'm sure we're in agreement that nobody really wants to build fat. They want to build muscle. So 1 day of conditioning will help improve your ability to build muscle while keeping fat gain a little bit lower. And obviously it's good for your health as well. All right. Next up on the docket, rest less on isolation work. And by that I mean, if you're going to do bicep curls or some direct shoulder work like a lateral raise at the end of your workout, you do not need 60 seconds, 90 seconds, or 2 minutes to really maximize that. You know, the brunt of your hypertrophy or muscle growth is going to come from the big multi-joint exercises that you're doing. So like a bench press and a deadlift, a lunge, a squat, those are going to trigger more growth overall than the isolation exercises. It's not to say an isolation exercise does not have a point. I'm not saying that at all. But you can rest less because your goal there is to chase the pump. You want to feel those muscles fired up, fully engorged with blood. They should be aching, throbbing. And honestly, the best way to do that, go high reps and reduce your rest. I would say honestly 30 to 60 seconds is all that you need after an isolation exercise to recover and hit it again. But remember, your goal there is not to max out your lateral raise, you know, or max out your bicep curl. Your goal is to create metabolic stress to trigger more muscle growth. Keep the rest short. All right, train muscle groups more often. Now, most of us don't have time where we can, you know, train 5, 6, 7 days a week on a consistent basis. Life is just too chaotic. I'm sure you agree with that right now. So what I recommend for a lot of people, kind of like the split I mentioned before, is train muscle groups more often. So a lot of times this comes out to being an upper, lower split. For example, if you were going to train, 4 days a week, Monday, upper body. Wednesday, lower body. Friday, upper body again. Saturday could be a total body day where you're hitting your upper body a little bit more for more volume to trigger more growth, or a lower body day. But by being able to trigger these muscle contractions more often, we'll be able to upregulate protein synthesis, which drives muscle building. You'll also be able to do your movement patterns more frequently. So honestly, if you do a squat pattern 104 times in a year versus 52, there's a good chance you're going to become a better squatter and be able to handle more weight and handle more volume. So by doing something more frequently, you acquire that skill on a lift a little bit quicker. And if those lifts are the ones that are going to drive your gains going forward, that's going to be excellent. That's what you want, all right? So don't get bogged down trying to blast every single muscle group in isolation, especially if it compromises your consistency, okay? All right. Next one, perform a horizontal row every single day. Now, I got this really from two guys. Jason Ferrugia talks about stuff like this a lot, as does Dr. John Russin. Honestly, a horizontal row, a dumbbell row, barbell row, inverted row, a TRX row, cable row, all that stuff, any sort of horizontal rowing movement is going to be essential for shoulder health, but it's also going to give you the volume that you need to take your posture from this to this, right? A lot of times we're stuck keeled over a keyboard, keeled over our phones all day, and those shoulders continue to internally rotate. From a performance perspective, that puts us at a more injurious position for your shoulders. Nobody wants to deal with shoulder injuries. Plus, it just looks like crap. When your shoulders get too internally rotated here, that's when guys start to get the Quasimodo position. And even if you're lean, you can still get that little belly pouch on the bottom below your belly button, like that little spot of fat that never goes away. By pulling your shoulders back, by having more horizontal rowing, you can improve that posture, bring your chest up, and honestly look bigger than you are and prevent shoulder injuries. So some sort of horizontal row in every single workout. Just keep the volume moderate and don't try to blast heavy weight every time you hit the gym. Oh, next one. This is a killer. So I need some caffeine. Guys, how am I doing so far? Do you have any questions? Need to catch my breath. Sometimes I speak too quickly as well. If they had do they have a middle finger emoji? Because if I'm talking too fast, you can drop one of those. I don't really take it personal. I don't take anything personal. Except for angry comments on my blog posts. Just kidding. All right, back at it. Deload. So a deload is a temporary time when you back off the heaviness of what you're doing. So you take the intensity down, you take the volume down. If you look at a program like 5-3-1, that's focused on 3 weeks of ramping up higher intensity, and then you drop back down 1 week. Personally, unless you're doing a very heavy strength program, I don't think you need to deload every 4 weeks. What I prefer to do is after every 12 weeks, say you ramp up intensity for 12 weeks, weight goes up, volume goes up. After that 12th week, take 1 week where you're back down. You cut your volume in half. So instead of doing 3 sets, you'll do 1 or 2. Instead of doing 4 sets, you'll do 2. Then you'll take your weight down, probably 20, 30, 40, 50%. So instead of bench pressing 100s, maybe you'd bench press 70s. All you want to do is get in there and stimulate the muscles, but you do not want to crush them. This is because our body goes through what we call supercompensation. Supercompensation is a necessary time period where you need to dial back the intensity, rest, and recover so your body can fully recuperate from all the training that you've done. But if you do not take time to occasionally back off, you're not going to get the most out of your training. And I know this is really hard mentally for a lot of people to take a deload, but honestly, you have to dial back that intensity, that volume, every so often so your body can fully supercompensate and recover from all the hard work that you've done. I'm sure we all want to get more out of what we do, right? If that's the case, take some time to deload. Your body will thank you. Your biceps will thank you. All right, track calories occasionally. Personally, confession, I hate tracking calories. Makes me neurotic. I want to throw my phone out the window, but it does provide valuable information. People want to act like counting macros and all this shit is the best thing since sliced bread. It's not, but what it does do is it does give you awareness. And without awareness, we're running around blind. And this goes, this is an overall philosophy. If you don't know, you don't. If you don't know what you don't know, you don't know. So when it comes to tracking calories, it's really good when you start a bulk to track calories for a few days and just see where you're at. A good baseline calculation, if you guys have questions on this, to see how many calories you need to build muscle, body weight in pounds times 14 plus 300. Okay? Body weight in pounds times 14 plus 300. That will give you a good baseline amount for calories that you should be eating to trigger muscle growth. This is a very basic calculation, but essentially what you do is you would stick at this number for about a week, and if the scale wasn't budging, you're going to want to increase that another 300. If you stayed there and you're doing well and continuing to build, awesome. Continue on that diet plan until you stagnate, and then start to increase a little bit, maybe 200 calories, 100 calories, so you continue to build muscle. But tracking calories, do it in the beginning just so you know how much you need to eat, and then stop, kind of set a consistent meal plan and go from there. All right, looking more at diet. Oh, sorry about that, guys. My brother just tried to FaceTime me. I need to call him back. He's in the military, actually, over in the Middle East, so I should do that very quickly. Now I feel bad. Shit. Okay, eat protein. Killing me. Call me again. I'll call him right back after this. So, eat protein and veggies with each meal. So, essentially what happens here, so many people go on the seafood diet when they want to build muscle. And when this happens, the seafood diet more or less means you see and eat everything in sight. Now, for very hard gainers, guys with a fast metabolism, this can be what you need to do. But for most people, this leads to a ton of fat gain, very poor gut health, and overall a very unsatisfying bulk. So focus on getting more or less like a fistful size of protein. So boom, take your fist, that's about how much protein you should get. 1 to 2 of those fistfuls with each meal, and a veg with each meal. Just a good baseline health thing, and making sure you're getting enough protein to stimulate muscle, okay? Sleep 6 to 8 hours per night. Honestly, this is where most people completely screw up. They trade everything for sleep, but you're gonna pay for it in the long run. I'm guilty, I'm sure you're guilty, but if you're not getting at least 6 hours, 8 hours is better of sleep, you're severely compromising your recoverability from your training. You are limiting your anabolic hormone levels. Testosterone is going to drop. Growth hormone is going to drop. All these things that are so important and that we look for some magical supplement to fix are really fixed if you stop watching Netflix and go to bed a little bit earlier and take your time. Okay, so take some time, wind down, take some melatonin if you need to for a little bit better sleep quality, and get 6 to 8 hours per night. Next up, if you are working late at night, this is one thing that I fall into the trap of. You want to limit blue light. Now, blue light is the stuff that's emitted from your cell phone, emitted from your camera, emitted from your, what's this called? A laptop, emitted from your laptop, emitted from your TV, and this can impair melatonin release, which is going to make it harder for you to fall asleep and stay asleep in that deep REM sleep. So what you want to do there, you can get some really dorky glasses. Actually, I have a pair. I should probably go get them. And they block blue light. Otherwise, there are blue light filters that you can put directly on all your electronics. So you can dial back on your phone. There's one on my computer called Flux, F-L-U-X, and that blocks the blue light and dials back at certain times of the day. So if you're working late, you will not get that blue light that impairs what your will not impair like the melatonin release and whatnot, or will not impair your sleep ability. Okay, supplements. I'm sure you guys have a ton of questions on supplements. And if you have something specific, please feel free to drop it in here. Overall though, supplements, they need to supplement a healthy diet. That's why they're called supplements. They're not going to be an end-all and a fix-all, but you'll be amazed how many questions I get. The first thing that somebody asks is supplements when they haven't had a veggie in 2 weeks. So if you are going to take supplements, one, look for a reputable source. Feel free to ask what some of those could be in the comments below. But things that I would look for: a quality protein powder with minimal ingredients. Grass-fed is great. Sometimes like even get some of the whey, even get some of the like vegan protein. Some of that stuff is decent as well. I just like to alternate and go through because my gut does not like dairy. Creatine monohydrate. Don't worry about the fancy types of creatine. They have not been tested and proved. Every scientific study that looks at creatine really up to this point that has really been double-blind tested and verified looks at creatine monohydrate as the best source. Don't waste your time on the fancy Creatine Blast 5000. No, don't worry about that stuff, okay? Magnesium is great. Magnesium spray. This will help with your recovery. This will help you relax. This will help you really across the board in terms of your health. Magnesium spray is great. A greens powder. Greens powder is an excellent overall supplement. If you're not getting enough veggies, this is a must. I travel with this stuff all the time, and honestly, I think it prevents me from getting sick. I'm rarely sick, even though I spend a lot of time on airplanes. A good solid greens powder. Boom. Ask me about any of those, and I'll let you know. Vitamin D, especially in the winter if you are in a northern state. Vitamin D is essential. It acts almost like a hormone and almost very similar to testosterone. So I got to double check that, but some similarities in terms of testosterone and what it does for your performance. But vitamin D is essential, especially if you are in a colder climate that does not get a lot of sunlight. But then a high quality fish oil. When you're looking at a fish oil, make sure you're getting a lot of EPA and DHA. For example, if a milligram, if a little pill says it's 1 gram of fish oil, then you will want to look at getting probably at least 400 to 600 milligrams between DHA and EPA together. Vigilis Greens powder as a green supplement. Athletic Greens is a great all-in-one supplement. So if you want one supplement that takes care of like a multivitamin, digestive enzyme, all that stuff, Athletic Greens is a good spot to start. Paul, yeah, Athletic Greens is great. On it has some good stuff. I'm just going to pull up my green supplement in 1 second. I just picked this stuff up from a Natural Grocers, green superfood. It's a little bit cheaper than the other stuff, but honestly, it does the job. Like I said, I tend to cycle through supplements. And honestly, in all honesty, like there are some companies that I do some work with in terms of supplements. I haven't mentioned any of them on this podcast, but honestly, I'm happy to give you any recommendation for anything. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I cycle through. Like I said, just trying to be completely transparent there. That's why I'm not mentioning any brands. On those guys, I get nothing. Honestly, I just find it to be as good as Athletic Greens or anything else for a lot less money. So I think we're all in agreement there. Yeah, that's about it for supplements. Like I said, specific questions. Don't look for the fancy stuff. Keep it simple. Keep it straightforward. What else we got? All right, we are down to our last two, and then I will look at some Q&A. I need to refresh my browser over here. Overall, get stronger over time. This is one where people screw up all the time, right? They think they need a PR from every single workout to every single workout, and if they're not getting 5 pounds stronger in their bench press, it's not a good workout. That's not the case. When you're a beginner, your gains go like this, and then as you get stronger and more advanced, they really start to plateau. So instead of getting 5 pounds stronger every single workout or 10 pounds stronger every single workout, this can take weeks. It can take months, but it's something you need to continue to push and go forward. Because getting stronger improves that overall work capacity and provides that progressive overload that your body needs. Now, if you're not pushing your body to improve that work capacity on a consistent basis, your body has no reason to grow, no reason to adapt. So for that to happen, you have to stay consistent. You have to stay in the direction that you're going and continue to get a little bit better. Honestly, like I said, progress does slow down, and there are different ways to progress, but stay at it and stay consistent. All right, where are we going from here? All right, cool. I can see some questions coming in. Guys, like I said, I've got one more coming up. Drop some questions, then we'll do some Q&A. All right, last one I'm going to cover right now, limit the booze. Sorry, maybe that's on my mind right now because it's my birthday and I'm probably going to crush a couple bourbon cocktails later. I swear there's nothing in this yet. Just kidding. But overall, you know, my overall philosophy for health and fitness is that it should improve your life. It shouldn't completely consume it. And, you know, I realize that, you know, my clients are going to go out, they're going to want to party, they're going to drink, they're going to go out to social events and enjoy these things. Good. Because if you're not able to enjoy yourself in whatever way that you deem fit, who am I to tell you how to live your life, so to speak? Then what's the point of spending all this time trying to consistently improve if you're just going to sit in a closet and count macros on Saturday night instead of going out to dinner with your girlfriend's family? You know, honestly, limit the booze. You can party a little bit, but if you're really trying to get stronger, really trying to build size, I do find it more detrimental than fat loss actually to have alcohol. So I would set a barometer, maybe 5 or 6 drinks per week, but don't go over that amount. But like I said, I want you to be able to enjoy yourself. I want you to be able to have fun. Just limit some of the partying and some of that stuff, and that's going to make a big difference for a lot of people when it comes to getting stronger and getting a little bit bigger. Guys, I'm going to turn it over to you for a moment. Like I said, I need to refresh and see any questions that are coming up. If you have anything else right now, I know we got a few people on the line yet. Okay, guys, like I said, any questions, let me know. Anybody else watching the NFL draft tonight? I am absolutely stoked. I used to watch the draft from start to finish when I was a kid. Kids watch cartoons. No, I would sit down and watch the NFL draft. It's kind of asinine when you think about it. Like, what am I really watching? A bunch of talking heads. But all right, guys. So if you do not have questions coming in, like I said, as I mentioned before, I do have a free 7-day challenge to help you build high performance muscle. Now, this is not a fat loss program. If you do not want to lose if fat loss is your primary goal, don't look at this. But if your goal is to get stronger, leaner, and more athletic all at the same time, and really focus on a performance component, then you will want this. Cliff, Derek Barnett is the best pass rusher in the draft. Dude, I completely agree. I mean, he absolutely destroyed it at Tennessee. Anybody who has more sacks than Reggie White, especially at Tennessee, is absolutely fantastic. You know, it's really funny. Like, the NFL gets so obsessed with all these measurables for these guys. And it's like, I don't care if the guy runs a 4.6 if he had 3 sacks in his college career. Like, it's cool to be a workout warrior and, you know, look great in your underwear. But if you do not have that go, and you do not have good hands and good skills on the field, it doesn't really matter how great your 40 is. Otherwise, you know, Usain Bolt would be the best receiver in the NFL. But that's just my take. All right, guys. Anything else? I'm hanging out for a minute. Cirillo, hey, what's up, dude? Good to see you. What are some of the best body workouts? Cirillo, are you referring to body weight? If so, man, I'm trying to think of this book right now. Convict Conditioning is a great Convict Conditioning is a really good book to look at advanced body weight. So when it comes to body weight training, where most people make a mistake is they turn every body weight training routine or exercise into like a high rep cardio blast. And like as I mentioned earlier, you do need a baseline level of tension to build muscle. So if you're not creating tension with more difficult exercises, you're going to have a hard time building muscle past a certain point. So Convict Conditioning, I believe, is the book. There's some very good advanced body weight progressions throughout that. So working towards like a single arm push-up, working towards a single arm pull-up, working towards a pistol squat, you know, working towards more advanced working towards more advanced body weight variations is what you're going to need to do if you really want to build a lot of muscle with body weight exercises. You know, everyone can talk about using, you know, gymnastics and all these different things. That's great, but you also have to keep in mind that these guys who are gymnastics on the Olympics that look great, one, they're the genetic elite. We aren't. That's just how it is. But they're also probably training 5 or 6 hours a day from age 4 or 5 all the way up to when they're 18. So, you know, if you want to quit your job and, you know, work on the rings and pommel horse and do dips for the next 15 years, you can probably get in pretty good shape. But you're going to need to find a way to create some tension. Cliff, actually, so you're talking about the supplements, stuff like that. Yeah, dude, feel free. Honestly, you're better off just sending me a message asking what you want specifically in terms of those things, and I can talk with you individually there. But when I was putting this list together, I actually, I'm just going to turn this into an article as well. So I actually have an article coming out on Monday covering all 28 ways to build muscle and strength that we covered in this video. So that will be available on Monday. That's going to go up at I think 4 a.m., something like that. I'll make sure I post it overall. It will be in the Minimalist Muscle Facebook group, and it will be on the Bach Performance page. So I will make sure all 28 of these tips are also written down in an article for you. Stefanios, boom. Hey, I already said eat more veggies. That's in there. So honestly, that's where a lot of people screw up. Health is the first wealth. If you are not healthy, crushing those veggies, man, it's going to be in rough shape. Awesome, guys. I'm going to head out. I've got to call my brother back. He's, like I said, he's overseas, so holler at him for a minute. And then I have to go crush a workout for myself, and I will talk to you later. But thanks a lot for being here. I enjoy doing these lives and talking to you guys. So any questions that you have, drop them below, and I'll make sure we keep getting to them. Have a good one.